Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real South Africa. Man, it's been a while. However, we have a great show for you today. We were fortunate enough to be invited to have an interview, so we decided to record it and we wanted to share it with you. I think it's very important information, but of course, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel and, of course, hit the notification button so you won't miss anything that is the Real South Africa. If this is your first time here, you will be in for a treat. But there's also videos that we've been doing for an extended period of time that I think that you will enjoy as well. So go ahead and get down with the Real South Africa, and we will show you exactly what we're talking about. The Real South Africa. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. As you guys already know, my name is Mark Edward Blanton from the Real South Africa, owner and operator of this wonderful company that brings you to South Africa. And we do it in a manner in which you get an opportunity to view everything, see everything you need to see, either on a 6-day, 10-day, 13-day trip, or if you want to stay longer, we can arrange that for you as well. We do a lot of stuff. The best thing you could do is go to our YouTube channel if you're not already on it and subscribe, because when you get there, you will see a lot of information. We put out information all the time, which could be important or which is important for you to travel to Africa. So if you always wanted to come here, if you wanted to bring that DNA back to South Africa or to Africa, this is the best way to do it. So we hope to hear from you soon. And if there's anything that you need, again, make sure you subscribe to our channel and also hit us up at info@therealsouthafrica.com.
Arrived. They've arrived earlier than anticipated. I love people that arrive early and love guests that arrive early. We are going to kick off the show. Like I said, you can connect with us on 079 497 2158. 079 497 2158. Okay, let me just give you a little bit of background. How I got to connect, how I got to know of my guest today. So I've got days. I literally, and don't judge me, do not judge me. I dedicate a day or so to actually look at what's happening on YouTube, because I feel that's the only way you get to find out, what the world is doing, what people are thinking, what's happening out there. Yes, we've got media, traditional media, we've got shows, we've got Netflix, but I feel like YouTube is on another level in terms of, just the raw content, the way people want to do it. So there was me doing my YouTube binging, and then I came across this page. Was called The Real South Africa, and I thought, okay, The Real South Africa was happening. I mean, it's something about my country. Let me check it out. And there were these two beautiful looking individuals talking about South Africa, and I was like, okay, what's happening here, right? And then I kept on watching and watching and watching, and I just fell in love with the content. The very same day, I fell in love with the channel, because for the first time, I think in a long time, it felt like I was being reintroduced to my own country. It felt like I was being reintroduced to the things that my country has, to the beauty of my country, to the beautiful people of my country. I think I watched the show, or I think I watched the channel for about 3-4 hours, because that's what you do when you binge, okay? Like I said, don't judge me. So today I have, another very important thing. So as I kept watching and I kept going to the channel every week or every second week, I visualized myself interviewing the content creators, the people behind the real South Africa. I was like, you know what? I'm going to one day have them on the show. And if they say no, I'm going to keep knocking until they say yes. And it only took just one time for me to knock and they welcome me. So please, let's welcome them on the show. I've got Dr. Natasha on the show. I've got Mark. I was about to call him Mr. Mark, but he prefers to keep it simple.
Yeah, Mark is easy.
Mark is good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and welcome to the Level Up. This is the show where we literally take everything to the next level. Our thinking, our mentality, our attitudes, and that's why it was so important for me to have you on the show, because like I said, personally, you literally helped me just remove those blinders about my own country and just put on a new thinking cap. So thank you to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. I'm that excited, guys. You know me when I'm excited.
No,
welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
Please
us.
introduce yourselves.
So I am Dr. Latasha Blanton. I am the part owner of the Real South Africa. In a former life, I did own a physical therapy practice with my husband and partner. We've been married for almost 15 years, and we've been business partners for 14. So we work and live together. That's our life. So that's the short version. I would let him tell the long version.
So you never get tired of each other, clearly.
We're always with each other. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, always with each other.
Great stuff.
And I'm Mark Edward Blanton, and I'm the co-owner with my wife of the Real South Africa.
Yes.
It's a travel and tourism company, primarily set up to bring the narrative of what's going on here in South Africa to the diaspora.
Yes.
Not just the American diaspora, but the entire diaspora.
Yes.
So we've been doing that for a while. We actually, this is our second venture here in South Africa.
Okay.
We had another venture. It was called Dream House Toys.
Okay.
We may get into that, maybe not.
Sure.
But we actually had that toy store in Southgate. We actually, with a couple who actually brought African American or Black Barbies to South Africa for the first time.
Wow.
So now when we walk around and we see them in the stores, we're really surprised.
Oh, we need to speak directly into the mic. Thank you. That was my producer.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry about that.
Really get this close.
Oh, we can.
No, I can't. Or I can just talk louder. I was just recognizing that you're so close.
We'll definitely sort it out.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
So you were the brains behind bringing Black Barbie dolls to South Africa.
Correct.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
But-
how is that? How is that?
Well, the backstory.
Yes.
Because there's got to be some context on it. So the
100%.
backstory is that I actually collect Barbies.
Okay.
So as an avid Barbie collector, our first time here in South Africa, we spent 2 months in Cape Town.
Yes.
Not our first time here, but our first extended stay, I should say.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to be in South Africa.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in Africa. I should be able to find the most amazing, better Barbies here
Yes.
than I would in the States. And
Yeah.
because I was so hype about trying to find a Black Barbie,
Yes.
he literally drove me around probably every day to different toy stores throughout Cape Town looking for Barbies, and we never found any.
Wow.
What happened was we talked to a store owner or a store general manager, and they said every time we went, oh, there'll be a shipment coming in on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'd go back on Thursday and there'd be no dolls.
Nothing there.
So eventually someone basically told us that there were none. They didn't ship them to the continent at all. And that didn't sit well with either of us, because with a continent that is mostly Black, or in a country that's mostly Black, I think that there should be a representation in the dolls that they play with. And he did all the hard work. So that's his version of the story. He did all the hard work to make that dream of my own come true, which is having a toy store filled with nothing but Black Barbies.
Amazing. And which year was this? With the
This was 2015?
From 15 to 17.
Yeah, 2015 to 2017, we actually had the store It was, like I said, it was located in Southgate Mall.
Yes.
A very, very, very nice store.
Yes.
It was funny because some of the people were like, "Are these real Barbies?" Because they never seen the black versions
before. Yes.
But
I've never seen. I'm sorry to say, I've never seen a black Barbie before. Now I see black dolls.
Yeah.
But I've never seen one physically a black Barbie. I'm one of those people.
I will make sure you see a black
Thank
Barbie.
you.
I will show you my collection before we leave.
Thank
On my phone, I will show you.
Yeah, so that was the story. So we just decided that it didn't make any sense. We approached in the short version of this, Mattel. They came down from Greece.
Yes.
I sat across from them, and we just hashed it out back and forth. And I told them that it made a lot of sense that they actually got that black girls have an opportunity to play with these dolls.
Exactly.
Because of my history, I mean, I was born in a long time ago, but my older sisters and every black girl that I've ever known have played with Barbies for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
And the biggest reason was they were inspired by who she was and what she could do.
True.
And so that was our contribution before we started doing what we're doing now.
What you're doing now.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been a journey. It seems
Yes.
like it's been something that is just in you as a couple, as individuals, to really make sure that, you know, as black people, as a people, we are very aware of ourselves, and we you know, we just celebrate, you know, our existence and so forth.
Yes.
Am I correct? Am I
No,
getting that
yes.
right?
No, 100%. I think that, you know, Mark's favorite phrase, and he will echo this, is that, you know, we have to be unapologetically black. And as African Americans, sometimes you don't get to be unapologetically black.
Yes.
You have to make an effort to be that.
Yes.
And moving to South Africa made it easy to just be black.
Yes.
So that's, you know.
We'll get to the moving to South Africa. We'll get there. Guys,
Sure.
remember, to our listeners, you can connect with us on 079-497-2158. If you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, just send them through so that we can, you know, engage and just take it to the next level. For now, we're going to take it to the music. I'm coming back with some more. I know I've got questions. I've got a whole lot of things which are also quite serious to discuss, you know, with Dr. Latasha and Mark. But remember, you can also connect with us on 079-497-2158. Let's take it to the music. We are live. We are on Viva Nation Radio. We are about to embark on an amazing show. It's all about our country. It's all about, you know, what the world is looking at when they think, or what they think when they, you know, think South Africa, or the name South Africa comes up. I've got the Blantons in the house, you know. I can't even say, I nearly said all the way from America, but no.
All the way from Centurion.
All the way from Centurion. Before we went to the music, you basically let me know that, you know, you started kind of this South African journey in 2015. And that's when you decided you're going to bring black Barbie dolls into the country, which is, I think, phenomenal.
Yes.
What happened after that? What then? How do we get to the Blantons being in South Africa, being part of South Africa, learning about the culture, and just telling the world about the real South Africa? Okay,
it's a very easy thing. I think I would say that it's actually, you know, World Cup 2010.
Okay.
I came here for World Cup. It was awesome.
Yes.
The people were amazing. The vibe was off the charts. It was perfect here. And I couldn't believe it, and that was my first time actually on the continent.
Okay.
So I was one of those people who would travel everywhere else, didn't come to Africa. No real reason, just it wasn't something that's advertised to us.
Yes.
That we talk about. We don't talk about Africa in America too much. Unfortunately.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Even as African Americans?
Even as African Americans, there's a group of people, we call them conscious people, let's say that.
Yes, the woke.
Yeah, the woke, yeah.
Yes.
And they talk about it, but do they come? Most of the time they don't.
Okay.
But they talk about it, they romanticize about it. So 2015 came, we came here, we did the store. Before that, we visited so many times. We was just here all the time. So it was more or less the people. We kept running into great people all the time. It was like, wow, the people. We were in Guguletu, in Cape Town, good people. Everywhere we go, good people. Of course, Joburg, Soweto, you know, big ups to those guys.
Whoop, whoop. That's
Yeah,
where I'm from.
yeah, exactly. It was, every time we stepped foot on the continent, or especially in South Africa, it was great. So we ultimately decided, I can't remember which year, Tasha, 2014, 2015?
When we decided.
Decided.
Oh, we decided in 2013. We decided.
Yeah. The final.
Yeah.
Like that was like this, we're moving. Now,
Yes.
the plan to get here kind of was a little bit different. I think the test bed was 2013, the extended stay in Cape Town. But that was like us saying, hey, is this a place we think we want to live?
Yeah.
How about we try it? And because we owned our own business, I could be gone for 2 months. It wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
So we stayed for about 60 days. We stayed in Clifton, First Beach, so we were near Camp Space, so that was awesome.
Yes.
And I think so 13 would be like the solid year that I would say we were.
Decided.
And then from then it was like, is it going to be Cape Town or Joburg? And then that was the next decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned something profound. You said that was after you decided this is where we're going to live. This is it. What were those factors that contributed to you deciding?
Well,
I'm gonna let him go with that.
no, well, it was very easy for us because, you know, in the U.S., you know, we own a business. We had all the trappings that people want, you know, and so when you don't have those things, you're thinking things to be better once you get the nice house or the extra property,
and
the cars, the business, the employees, and then you're thinking, wow, you know, things would be better. But it actually wasn't. It was actually, it wasn't. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So, but in the meanwhile, we did go to other vacation spots.
Yes.
Very few. But then we just started saying, you know what? If we were, you know, it's going to sound kind of hoity-toity. That's an American term.
Yeah.
When we were in the Hamptons, we were like, oh, well, we probably should have been to South Africa.
Yes.
So, or we was in, you know,
Martha's Vineyard.
Yes.
Or those are hoity-toity places.
Yeah.
They are. They just are. We should have been in South Africa. So we kept coming. I mean, we was here all the time.
Yes.
In a year, we was probably here 3 times a year.
You were here a little bit more than I was.
Yeah, spending a couple weeks to a month at a time here. So that was like really the catalyst. It was just the people and the fun that we was having. The weather was great.
Yes.
And
the food.
And the food was good. So I think
the food, full stop.
And I think overall, I would say being in the majority as a black person and being accepted.
Wow.
I mean, you guys are amazing. You guys have always accepted us. There are places in the U.S. I can go, and I'm not talking about spotty places. I mean, most places where I'm not accepted, even though I may, you know, be affluent or may actually be able to, you know, purchase whatever I need.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, they're like, what are you doing here? But here in South Africa, they just want to know my name.
So basically, if I'm understanding you correctly,
yes,
being in the U.S., which is obviously where you grew up, where you were born,
your
home, right? I guess if I were to translate what you just told me, you had this thing that, okay, if I get all these things and I would be perceived maybe, let's say, less dangerous, less threats, less of everything, but it wasn't like that.
I think
yes.
Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna say I think. I'm gonna say I know.
Yeah.
I know that growing up as a black person in the U.S., they literally tell you, if you do this, then.
Yes.
So we have a lot of if-then activities.
Yes.
If you go to... If you go to a good school, you will get a good job. The reality is, if you go to a good school, you will be in debt. Okay. If you are good and don't make any mistakes, you won't get killed by the cops. That's not true. So there's a lot of if-thens that we put our hopes and dreams into. And as a young person, for me, believing that if I went to the right school, had the right friends, and by right friends, I mean friends that didn't look like me. And did the things that they did, that I would be included. When in all actuality, I was being tolerated. And there's a difference between being included and being tolerated. To be tolerated your whole life to the point to where you get to where you do have a doctorate degree. So you've done all the things they've asked you to do.
Check.
And now here you are owning your own business, and you're still in a position where you have to prove yourself, even in a place that you own. That became taxing for me. it became taxing to a point to where my mental health was suffering. Physically, I was suffering. My marriage was suffering because it was difficult to maintain all of the things that went along with the business and what he had to deal with on his job before he quit and the business. So it became taxing, and our relief would be South Africa. Like every time it got to the boiling point, we would be online both. Hey, there's a plane leaving on Thursday. What you trying to do?
We are
out.
Yeah, it would literally be. It wasn't like we planned it out months in advance. No, it was like,
I'm stressed. We need
this
to go.
Week. We're leaving next week.
Yep.
And we would just go.
Clear my schedule. I'm out.
So interesting because these, and like I said, that this is such a layered conversation. Even from the first time we met, I said this is such a layered conversation because we grew up aspiring to be in America, to be American. And I think maybe, and I could only speak for myself and a few other people that I know who are my friends, it's almost like slowly that wool over our eyes is just uncovering, like, actually, maybe, no.
Yeah.
You know?
But see, you have that option.
Yes.
But and on our side, a lot of our own people, they do have the option, but they don't know they have the option. And we have a as you guys would say, well, we call it a civil rights worker.
Yes.
A long time ago, y'all call them freedom fighters.
Yes.
Harriet Tubman, she used to had a situation where she used to help free slaves.
Yes.
There's a movie and all that on.
I literally watched it this weekend.
Yeah. and her biggest statement was, I could have freed more people if they knew they were slaves.
Wow.
Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know.
What's better out there.
Yeah, you just don't know the situation. And so that going back to the question of, why the Real South Africa, we chose that name because we wanted people to see on our side, those in the diaspora, which is us, the real South Africa, like what we see on a regular basis versus the contrast of what they show from the time that you were an infant through school. I mean, there's nothing nice going on here.
You know, the funny thing is, and I'm sure the listeners out there would agree with me, like I said, if you're out there listening, you can connect with us on 079-497-2158. The funny thing is, and I don't mean to digress, the funny thing is, even as South Africans, there was a point in time where we also had a very negative view about the rest of Africa. Right?
On purpose,
and
I
think it still exists today where a lot of South Africans, and I'm guilty of this at some point, a lot of South Africans did not identify themselves as Africans. It was, I don't even know how to explain it properly, but and I think it also shows itself today through the unfortunate incidents of xenophobia, where there's that them and us, we are South Africans, we are cool, we are okay, we've got streets, we've got lights, we've got that, and then the rest of Africa is, and the point that I'm making with that is that these are things to watch out, especially with one, you have kids, especially if you really aspire to make it in life and connect with people from all over the world, because we are literally suffering the effects of a single story, and that's something that a friend of mine shared with me yesterday. She shared a piece from TED Talk from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, that the single story is so dangerous because all our lives we are told certain things about certain places, certain people, and certain events and circumstances, and that has to change. It must change because it compromises us connecting with those people, number one.
Correct.
It also compromises unity. It also compromises a whole lot of things that we truly need to happen for the world, not just South Africa or Africa, for the world to actually move forward, for people, for children to actually have a broader sense of humanity. So I'm just putting up my hand saying I'm so guilty of that. I've done that at some point, thinking I'm separate. I'm yes, I'm in Africa, but I'm not really African, because it's that thing of where Africa's portrayed flies, poverty,
of course,
droughts, all of this. But you are changing that. The real South Africa is changing that narrative. Right?
We're trying. We're doing.
You are.
Yeah, we're doing everything that we can. We put out as much information as we can.
Yes.
We actually, no different than when we opened our store. It was our effort. Like right now, it's our effort. Hopefully, I think in the near future, we're going to get a lot of assistance from outside entities outside of us. But we're business people at heart, and so we put together a strong business that reaches out to pretty much everyone. We like the fact that South Africans contact us for travel tips, and even though we're actually talking to people in the diaspora and people. We get people from the UK, we get people from all over Europe contacting us, saying, "Hey, I saw your video on your YouTube channel," and they're like, "I want to do that. I didn't know that existed." It existed. But I think the most profound thing is when people say, "I was planning on going somewhere else. South Africa was never on my radar. Wow. I wasn't even thinking about it. But now, just watching our channel." And just listening to what we're telling them, they're like, "Oh, I need to get to South Africa immediately." Yes, and they are.
Sorry.
Well, I was just going to add to that the single story you're talking about. Yeah. So when he says that people are contacting us now saying that South Africa wasn't on their list, when we talk to them, it is because of the single story. It is because they hear about apartheid and they think that racism here is worse than it is where they are when we are the breeders and makers of racism in America. So they are victims of the single story as well. So for them to have the courage to even call us and say, "Look, I want to thank you and I appreciate you for showing me, and I watched a lot of your videos, and everything that you show me makes me question what I thought about that country." So we are doing our very, very best to destroy that single story, because we still get asked that question a lot, because it is reverberating around the world still about Africa and South Africa.
Correct. Yeah. And in terms of the reaction, so I imagine that obviously people do heed your call, right? They're like, they do. We coming. I saw that steak on YouTube. I saw that beautiful beach on YouTube, so I'm coming. What have been the different reactions now, literally, when your guests or whoever comes through and they actually experience? You take them on an experience. Just share with us the reactions.
Well, go ahead, Tasha.
Their reactions are always the best. I love if you catch them like when they land. Take us you know what I mean? Like, so like they land, right? The car picks them up, they get to their accommodations. We wait a little bit just to give them time to freshen up, and then we kind of pop over. And when they see us, like their eyes are super big. They're like, "What? Like, I know you showed it to me on a video, but like, this is amazing." And then they start going through like this emotional, like, questioning, confusing. They're trying to reconcile what they were taught with what they're seeing. And then on top of all of that, the feeling, and then seeing a bunch of beautiful, progressive, brown and black people doing amazing things, and young people having a good time and socializing and literally like enjoying their life.
They don't get it.
It blows their mind, and that's just day one. That's day one. Talk to them in about a week. They're like, "I don't want to go back home." I'm like, "You have a round trip ticket."
That is so amazing. And I'm sure I'm not the first South African that you've come across that loves hearing about these reactions, because as South Africans, we are proud of our country, and because of that, which I'm sure you've heard over and over, because of the sense and spirit of Ubuntu, we really do want to know, are you okay? Are you enjoying? Are you having a good time? We take... Please go on. Don't stop yourself.
Well, it's funny because in all of the things that Tasha said, it's a lot of times, even though our travelers may be quiet, and because we're used to just like walking between the raindrops, when somebody who looks like them starts to speak to them, and they're like, "You see me." You see me.
Exactly.
And they are extremely excited. They are overly excited that they get to be in the majority. They know that they're black. It doesn't take them long, and honestly, and I'm just going to tell you, all the stuff that South Africa has, the food, the beaches and
Yes.
stuff, all of that, in the end, when we're at the end and they're ready to get on the plane, they're
Yes.
talking about the person that they met over there, the
Yes.
person that spoke to them over there. And there are those that come, they just want to sit by themselves. And I'm like, you can't do that here.
It's not going to
Yes.
happen.
And South Africans are not going to allow you just
No.
to sit by yourself and just be by yourself.
It's
No.
rude.
Thank you. And whatnot. But people are like, no, I'm just going to, no, trust me. Go sit down over there and I will time it.
Exactly.
You're not going to be by yourself.
Yes.
I think the other thing
Yeah.
too that they get taken aback by is that what we forget about in the U.S. Like you guys are very, like you greet everybody. Hey, how you
Correct.
doing?
Yes.
You greet the person that's helping you back your car out, or the
Yes.
guy that gets your cart for you when you're at the grocery store, or the person that's ringing up your groceries
Yes.
at the. Hey, how are you today? Is everything
Correct,
going good?
yes.
We don't do that.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah, we
regularly.
just-
We don't even speak to each other when we, pass by in
Just
the
keep
store. So, for some of our travelers to get here and for people to speak to them,
Yes.
it's like, do they know me? I'm like, no, they're just
No.
saying hello. But
Exactly.
they're just want to
Yeah.
know how you're doing. And
Yeah.
then they speak to people. They start having conversations. They think it's hilarious. Mark is very outgoing. He
Yes.
is the person that will literally talk to anything. And and
Sad.
people have seen. We'll have our travelers here, and he'll be like, "Hey, there's a group of guys over there. I'm just gonna go run and chat to them."
Yes.
And our travelers will be like, "But do you know them?" It's like,
Mm-mm.
no. Walk over there, chat them for a little bit. Next thing you know, they're over at our table. Everyone's having drinks. The travelers are
What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
like, how is it possible for you to go talk to someone who
Yes.
looks like you and them not give you like a side eye, like
Yes.
stop, like
Wow.
because if we did that in the States, you would get a
Oh, no.
whole bunch of
No.
Step
do I
away.
know you, like a
Yeah.
bunch of attitude. So just to be able to be who we are, I mean, we're like that naturally. We're trained to not speak. But to be able to come here and to naturally just make friends, most of the travelers that are here have like, I met this person, they've taken me here, because you guys will scoop up somebody in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in
Yeah.
a heartbeat.
And claim them.
Correct.
And literally, like, you're mine. That's what happened to us in Cape Town. Our very first friend in Cape Town. We were there it was like our 4th or 5th day. I like cake. You already know that.
Yes.
Mark takes me to Charlie's Bakery.
Yes.
She's in there, and we were just trying to take a picture, and she says, "Must I take a picture for you?"
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. She takes a picture for us. She gets our details, and within days, she's like, "I'm coming to pick you up. I'm taking you here. I'm taking you here."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Okay.
Yeah.
"No, seriously." And she did that. She's still our friend right now.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you this joke that happens usually during the holidays?
Oh, gosh.
There's even a meme that goes around. Very funny joke, but it actually speaks to exactly what you're talking about. That in December, which is obviously holiday season,
Of course.
when you leave the house, just going to buy bread, you just leave dressed up. Because along the way, someone will be like, "Hey, it's going, let's go."
Yeah.
And you need to be ready and dressed up. So when you leave the house in December, even if you're just going to get milk, leave dressed up, put on your makeup, because just as you walk out the gate, someone will be like, "There's a hot party, let's go."
It's always-
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always something
Yeah.
to do here.
So that is truly the South African, I guess you could say, essence. The reason I also wanted to have you on the show was just
Okay.
to also remind our listeners, because I guess with 2020, 2021, COVID, everyone losing family, everyone being touched by some or other negative circumstance, we really unsure where the world is going, what we are doing, what the issue is. But just to kind of hear this type of feedback about our people, as South Africans, which are your people as well, okay? Let me
Yeah,
say,
of
when I
course.
say
No,
our,
no.
I was like,
I'm
I'm
here.
including everyone.
I live here now.
Yeah, so it's so easy to forget the beauty and the wonderful things that God has blessed us with, because all the things that you are mentioning, these are natural things, the people, the places, the beach and so forth. We haven't even touched on anything materialistic or superficial.
Mm-mm.
And it really touches on the fact that so many times we forget how blessed we are. So many times we forget how much in a fortunate position we are. And I think as young Africans, we need to start realizing that, so that we can actually really kind of awaken the giant within. Because so much of our time has been spent with us believing that we need help. We are, because what you saw is also what we kind of have been exposed to,
Mhm.
that as an African, especially as a black African or South African, you really aren't, can I say, you're insignificant, you know, you aren't powerful enough, you aren't this. That's why at times I've often felt as African youth, as South African youth, we are so looking to be rescued, not realizing already just personalities, just our sense of, you know, wanting to overcome.
Correct.
We truly are in a great place, but it's up to us to turn that around and actually make it, you know, possible. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you guys, the South Africans,
yes,
the proper South Africans that I've met, I mean, they're very progressive, extremely progressive.
Yes.
I mean, things that you guys do, we wish that we could do openly in the United States.
Yes.
We, you know, you see us doing things, and you're like, oh, okay, well, Beyonce's doing this, so you think everybody's doing
it, but it's not
no.
like that.
But I see people here that are coming up really fast, getting into business, doing certain things, and as long as you are not, you know, apologetic.
Yes.
You know, I think I had a conversation with a young man at a glamping experience. It was very nice, and of course it was a little late. We had been, you know, having a good time.
Imbibing.
I just say that around the campfire, and he was hung up on the way that he spoke English.
Yes.
And that he didn't get a proper education.
Yes.
But he worked for SARS. I guess a private school education. I'm not really sure how it works on this end. And he was so upset with it, with the situation. And he says, "See, you, because you speak like that, you have more opportunities." And that may be the case, but I will. And you know, I told him, I said, "Where I come from, I don't speak proper English, not even close."
Yes.
And there's always going to be a hang up.
Yes.
So right now they're hanging this English speaking thing over your head, so that makes you put your head down.
Yes.
But we've been having a conversation, and I understood everything that you said, and you understood everything that I said, and you have a language that I don't have. I said I probably cuss a lot because I don't have the verbiage that you have. You can express yourself in your language, and I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So you were perfect when you were born, and you're still perfect. So don't let them come along, them, or I say they.
Yes.
And change who you are based off their standard. Because I remember years and years ago, it was, you know, when obviously I had hair at some point, but you know, they had whatever art. They made our issues, and then they made us have to live up to it. So you guys are uneducated, so we go get educated. You guys are lazy, so we do this, and we, you know. So that's why you see African Americans doing so much. But I think my generation and younger are like, no, we're perfect. We're fine.
Yes.
And so we've stopped that.
Yes.
We don't let them define who we are and what we are. And that's what I told that young man. I said, you know, you're fine. You know,
you're enough.
You were perfect when you was born.
Wow. Guys, this is such an interesting topic, such a layered topic. We are going to get to the fun stuff. I've been having so much fun. I haven't even realized that we are literally moving. Just 30 minutes to the end of the show, but we'll still rock it. Let's take it to some music. Remember, you are on Viva Nation Radio with me, Noluthando Chabalala. This is the Level Up Show. We level up our thinking, our attitudes, our spirits, everything. We just take it to the next level. We are live, we are back. You are with me, Noluthando Chabalala, on the Level Up Show on Viva Nation Radio, VNR. Power to the streamers. I've got my amazing, beautiful guests with such great energy who basically left everything in the States to make South Africa their home. So we often hear, especially on social media, so many people, I think they would be boasting or gloating, you know, about how they're leaving South Africa, how they're going for good. I'm going off, I'm done with South Africa. And in a way, when I see those comments, a part of me is like, you know what, fine, go. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, what is this? What does it mean when so many people do actually leave South Africa? So to meet the Blanton was for me a really a breath of fresh air, because like I mentioned at the start of the show, they literally made me reappreciate. It almost was like they were reintroducing me to my country. In a way, I also felt bad because I thought to myself, am I in such a negative space that I have to have the next person tell me how great my country is? But there are things that in life we always have to be reminded of. We always have to be reminded about being grateful that we are healthy, we are alive, you know, and this for me is one of those times where we have to remember how amazing we are as a people. We have to remember how great of a country we have. We have to remember how far we have come, because sometimes we don't see it. We don't take ourselves seriously. We don't actually take into account the strides that we've taken. But I've got Dr. Latasha here and I've got Mark to actually tell us why the move. Well, I think they've already touched on it. So now we're going to just go into, the fun stuff. Let's start with the food. Everyone that praises South Africa talks about the food. What's so special about our food?
Besides the fact that it's fresh, and actually presentation, you guys take a lot of time in presenting the most beautiful plates of food, and it just makes it fun to eat. Like, most of the time, if you're in the States and you're eating, even if it's at a nice restaurant, you expect the food to be pretty when you come out, but the food here is like legitimately pretty food. Like, it's
done nice.
And then when you eat it, you're like, oh, it's even as good as pretty as it looks. Like, it's like all of it goes together. Package. Like the whole thing. The way you guys spice food, the chefs that I've been able to meet, they love their job, and you can tell that they put love in the food when they're cooking it. I love it. I love every second of it. Even when we go to like people's Go-Go's house and we eat, they put love in that food too. That's so good.
Usually the best.
Oh my
Go-Go's
gosh.
food, that is the best, because it's done simply, it's done nicely. It just comes from the heart. It's
warm. It makes you feel nice and fuzzy.
Amazing. And what other, I could say, maybe differentiating or differentiators rather, in terms of culture, in terms of, I think we've touched on the people, and people are amazing, they're warm, they're receptive. That's also the same feedback received after the World Cup in 2010. People from the rest of the world, like, the people are amazing.
Yeah.
So we've touched on the food. What else? I think you once mentioned something about cars the last time we met. Something about the cars that I liked. I don't know whether you mentioned it when we were together or you actually mentioned it in your video, where on the channel, where you said you won't see a lot of Ford and a lot of Chevrolet.
I think it's funny. There's culturally there's a lot of things that we're similar. Like, for example, me, I like the Chevys and the Fords. I've owned 30 cars in my lifetime.
Yes,
I don't know, a lot of cars. And I've never had a Chevy and I never had a Ford for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
But it seems like here, the cars that they drive here are the cars that I like. I like the Porsche. I like the Mercedes.
So you like the luxury stuff?
It was going all the way back. I've always liked those cars. I started with my Nissans, my 350Zs, and the cars that
can't say Nissan. You have to say Nissan.
Yeah, Nissan. Yeah. However it's pronounced, but I've noticed here, that the young guys here aspire to their GTIs,
South Africans love
their Audi RSs, and I think what's the one, the C63s. I see a lot of that, which is near and dear to my heart, because I like the fact that when I see the driver pulls up, it's a young person.
Yes.
He's 25, 27, 28 years old. I mean, that's pretty significant. That means that culturally, you guys are like ambitious. You guys are entrepreneurial, and what I like about it is the fact that it shows. And you guys are very. When I say you guys, I mean us here. We're very.
I like that we.
Yeah, we. Yeah, I mean, people here are very proud. Of what they're doing, and that's something that you mentioned. We just need to get that thing radiated out to the rest of the world of what's going on here. So, but I think culturally, we connected immediately, because especially the travelers that come here with us, because we're black. But and then as time go on, like you guys call them Go-Go's, we call them grandmas. Some of the things are very similar.
Exactly.
You guys do a lot of things that are very similar. For example, we would like to pull our cooler box with us. And go and just pull through somewhere, set it up, turn the music on. We would love to do that, but
it becomes an issue.
Our laws kind of make it a little difficult. But if we could, we would do what you're doing.
Exactly.
So we're not that different. Matter of fact, I don't think we're different at all.
100%.
Yeah, we just use different technologies and the different you know,
terminologies.
yeah,
Yes.
you guys do things a little different, but we can get down with that easily.
Exactly.
I've been able to get down with it, and then anybody that comes here, it takes like a hot minute to say, oh, okay. The biggest thing, if like for example, if I say I'm coming now, that means I will be there at some point.
Yes.
And in America, that means like you should be coming through the door.
Yes.
Or
Now.
Yeah, exactly. You guys say now. So I gotta remember what I'm saying.
Yes.
And when I'm talking to people, I remember years ago somebody would say, "Hey, I'm coming just now," and I'm like, "Okay." And
I'm waiting.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm not here yet," and I'm here.
And waiting. They're like, no, I told you.
So stuff like that.
No.
It's just little.
Yes.
It's just little things.
Yeah.
That is different, but can easily be overcome. So we can actually come together and do great things here on the continent.
100%. Now I know in terms of obviously you are always exploring the country, connecting with the people, you know, enjoying and so forth. And the South African conversation can never end before we talk tribes. So I watched the clip of Oprah a while back, right?
Okay.
And she was getting her DNA checked out and stuff, and they were showing her or telling her the results rather. And unfortunately for her, she was told she's not Zulu, and she was like, "I'm not Zulu."
Yeah.
Really? Because I guess maybe for her, she identified with the Zulu people. You know, I don't know. Has there been something like that happen in your endeavors and so forth, where you feel like maybe the Xhosa people are really, or the Venda people, or the Zulu people? Have you heard any that kind of sense of, you know, connecting with a certain tribe?
What I found is that the tribes will claim me first. So I've been claimed by a lot of tribes, which is all good for me. However, I don't really need to say, you know, I connect with one or the other. I find similarities in all of the tribes and how they connect with each other, how they speak to their parents, how they treat each other. That's enough for me to feel like I'm included. But I'll take any name anybody wants to give me from any tribe. Like I'm good with that, you know. So just being accepted by all of them, you know, is enough for me. I don't need to pick.
All right, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that show. We truly appreciate being invited to the Level Up Show, and we also invite you to listen to her show and get more insight on what's going on here in South Africa. Now, I am so glad that we get the opportunity every day pretty much to show you what's going on here in South Africa, to give you the opportunity to know that there are other options out there for us, that we can actually travel to different locations and go places that we generally never even thought of as a travel location. However, South Africa is up and ready to go. It is a premium tourism spot. And let's just say that sometimes it's hard to get the locations that you want. And that's why we expect you to give us a call and let us know what you're interested in doing. And we will do everything in our power as your representative here on the ground to make sure that you can go to some of the best locations here in South Africa, eat some of the best foods, lounge in some of the best lounges available. But it's really up to you. You just need to give us a call. Trust what we're saying because we're on the ground. We're not in the internet. We're actually on ground here in South Africa, and we can make everything work for you as you are taking your first experience for the most part here on the continent, which is the best location simply because it gives you the most softest landing here on the continent. So it's time for us to start visiting South Africa and all points in between. Chat with you later.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.